So please give a very big hand to Maldon's own, the one and only, Mr. David Hughes. Good evening, everyone. Songs of Integrity, you'll understand why it's called that. As the evening progresses. Yes, I decided to do one set because, which is basically two sets joined together, so that our friends around the world won't be watching you just milling about having a drink for half an hour. Going to start with a Song of Spring, which is not on the album actually, simply because I played it when we recorded the album, but I did bugger it up, so let's hope this time I'll get it right. Sunlight across the floor and deep in love forevermore. Out of shadows into glory, they began a moving story. And darker grew the fields of England underneath the leaves of spring. These are the days of fire and wind when lovers talk of everything. They talk of everything. Earth and stone and history, all lovers turn to mystery. From the dark wood, from the deep, the songs of England gently weep. Of lovers lost in distant lands where strong winds blow across the sand. And always there will be one night that burns unlike no other light. As the sun moved off the floor, began that night forevermore. They'll talk forevermore. Of earth and stone and history, now it's all returned to mystery. Everybody's got one night, a song of England burning bright. Everybody's got a story to tell, it's a story they remember well. And some are waiting for a light to come, there's a time they're waiting for everyone. When the sun goes down tonight, someone will be burning bright. Sunlight across the floor and deep in love forevermore. Out of shadows into glory, we began the moving story. Pardon? That was kind of a love song at the beginning of a relationship. I've got a few like that, and though I don't do so many love songs, I don't know why that is. The other two ways of doing a love song is during the process, the relationship, or after. And I find that after is by far the most creative of the three. I think Bitter and Twisted is much better for me. And this is one of those. Well, I'm a man of some description of outstanding modesty. I won the whole world over with sheer personality. But my woman, she has left me. She must be sailing on a sea of misery. My concern for her is palpable. She'll never find a man like me. Yeah, she must be having a bad time without my company. She used to like to dine out so much that she'd pay for me. She used to like me drinking till she tucked me into bed unconsciously. Now where's she gonna find a lover like that? I know she'll never find a man like me. It's hard, hard, hard for a woman of quality. It's hard, hard, hard to let a man like me go free. Where does a woman turn to when she's lost her greatest love? She could turn to anybody, but it wouldn't be enough. She's left a man behind to look for other fish in the sea. Or she control the 7 oceans, but she'll never find a fish like me. Well, my friends all say I'm looking slightly lost and off the pace. I got a kind of hangdog lonely look upon my face. They say you soon get over love. They say the heart will mend eventually. Well, I hope it does for her sake, 'cause she'll never find a man like me. It's hard, hard, hard for a woman of quality. It's hard, hard, hard to let a man like me go free. She phoned me and she told me she's surprisingly okay. In fact, she's feeling better each and every single day. Well, that's so hard to believe. Must be some kind of creed occurred. Because the only other explanation is I'll never find a girl like her. Yeah, the only other explanation is I'll never find a girl like her. No, 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 I'll never find a girl like her. I've had a review of the album already. It was pretty good. It was about, a couple of paragraphs. It said one song in particular was wickedly funny. So that's what I've used for the whole review. I've used that bit, wickedly funny. But it did make mention of this next song and said that it was self-deprecating and implying that I shouldn't do that. Well, actually it's not self-deprecating. It is what most of my songs are, ironical. Okay, this is a kind of yes, because I remember being in Sunday school and one of the teachers saying to me, "You better be careful, or you're going to waste your time." And I reckon I've wasted most of it now, and to good effect, So it is a bit. And it's also a kind of a hip-hop kind of a song. Basically, I'm talking through it. I'm playing the guitar, but I'm talking. It's called Wasted. Here's a little story with a point at the end of it, all about a man with a voice in his head. Started off slow, pretty quiet to begin with, then it gathered up speed and got loud instead. By the time he understood, it was his conscience that was talking. It was saying only one word, and word began to spread. Over and over, the message kept coming. This is what the voice in the man's head said. He said, "Wasted, wasted. Ought to be a crime all the time that I wasted." I wasted my time, what could have been won't be mine. I'm part of Mother Nature's grand design. All that I need is a newspaper to read, tobacco and a coffee and everything's fine. It's not a paper that I haven't read, not a coffee or a cigarette that I haven't tasted. But when I think about the time, have to think about the time I must have wasted. Ought to be a crime all the time that I wasted. No, I never listened, I always knew better. They were right and I was wrong. They said I'd come unstuck if I wasn't careful. They had my number all along. I knew I had it coming to me. I knew I had it coming. Well, I faced it. Faced what? Confess. No, little Celeste. So it wasn't that I was worthy. I needed to think. Now my thinking days are over, I go for a drink. I got to really think. Well, I think I am learning a thorough good lesson. Boots on the other foot, I'm in disgrace. I found out the hard way, I'm changing my tune now, laughing on the other side of my face. There's nothing I can do about it. The time that I had, I wasted. I want to think about the time, if there's still some time around, if the future's looking sound, I'm probably gonna waste it. wasted. I'm gonna think I'm having fun when all I will have done is wasted. It's a very common story and a lesson to be learned. The court's in session and there's never been adjourned. The judge is so quick he never made a wrong call. And of all the words he said, well, there's one that says it all, and that's wasted. Wasted. Ought to be a crime all the time that I wasted. 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 Ought to be a crime all the time that I have. Waste not, want not, don't know, somehow I got wasted. So there. If I do a gig in Maldon, it's probably everyone's heard all my introductions to my songs, which is a bit off-putting, but I got to say them anyway, so that the people around the world will be able to understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes they do need introducing. For instance, this one. So if you've heard me introduce this ad nauseum, just shut up and I'll do it anyway. This song is a very sad tale. It's a song of the Essex, Suffolk and Kent region borders. Border song, I think you'd call it, if you're a real folk singer. Okay. And specifically, this song is about my old blue Metro car, which I went everywhere in. I drove it all over the UK and elsewhere. And inevitably came the MOT of doom. I've just done an MOT just now on the new one. That cost a bit of money too. My cars usually do cost a lot in an MOT. This one was the blue car, it was ridiculous. And it's not as if they couldn't, I'd just driven it down from Edinburgh or something, So it was a go-in car. It would have taken me all over the world probably, except for the welding. Who gives a shit about welding anyway? Anyway, they said, "Well, no, this is." So it was goodbye, blue car. So long, blue car, so long, so far, nothing wrong with your heart, just this MOT tore us apart. So long and so far, so long, blue car. Me and Bud, we drove you halfway to the sun, and then we hit the road, which is where we came undone. Spiving for a living and living on the fear, that's how it's come to this. Now you've got understeer, you're racking pinions too worn for the test. Emissions a problem. You're in a mess. The total sum was a total charade. The upshot is I haven't got a car. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I live in the country, need a car for goodness sake. I should get a grant for all the sacrifices that I make. I live in isolation with just $16,000. You need a car in Essex to avoid one another. And what about all those people who live in Kent? That can't be easy. They need a car to talk things through. Kent can be so breezy. And the people out in Suffolk, well, they're all as mad as hell. But unless they live in Ipswich, they need cars as well. I blame us. No, I do. Didn't treat you right. Left you standing outside all night, yeah. Tell you what I do. I'll make amends. I'm gonna get you back out there on the Benz, yeah. I'll get insurance. I'll make a start. I'll be back with the spare part, yeah. Policy will be all risk, yeah. I'm coming back with a tax disc, yeah. So long and so far, so long, blue car. To guitar aficionados around the world, I'll just say that I have been playing in Dadgad, and then I've moved down to CGD Gad, and back up now to Dadgad. See, this is the kind of thing people all over the world want to hear about. The only other thing they want to hear about, or they want to see, it's not the song so much. There is that breed of guitar man out there. They want to know what tuning is, what your tuning is, and they also want to watch you tune. They're usually the people sit at the front. I'm watching. This song is made up of lyrics that just came into my head as I got to each line, and therefore mean nothing. This is a problem if you go to Germany, because you have to explain every single line. But in this case, well, the Get Out, particularly in Germany, is to just say it's just a dream song, just a dream. It doesn't have to make sense at all. You know, it's kind of Freudian. Oh, right, okay. And also, loads of people have written dream songs. Bob Dylan wrote dream songs. He wrote Bob Dylan's 115th Dream. So, I've called this David Hughes' 116th Dream. very nice, sincere man, oh, honest politician came wandering by. He was followed by a new man with hope in his eye. There was Emerson Fittipaldi with a martini dry, and a very nice man, very sincere, from the Halifax, it made me cry. It's in my dream, nothing in this world's what it seems. Then I lost my woman in a bare knuckle fight. Every tender punch was a velvet fist full of dynamite. I looked up at the blue corner and everybody was wild. Doc said, "Chap, you better move on. She was the better man tonight." I think that was a dream. Nothing in this world's what it seems. You know it's happening more and more, and never know for sure if this is heaven's door or life itself. Some dreams are clear as a mountain stream, and the rest seem as though they're somewhere else. Just like the born again, marching on to glory with a scout song. They say they're praying for me. How can they be so clean and stupid? Something's wrong here. I'll tell you something else. That's not a dream. The very nice, sincere man had someone to reign. The honest politician, he had a long piece of string. The other two got talking about racing car things. The new man said to Emerson, "Here, hold the baby, I'll be back by early spring." It's in my dream, nothing in this world's what it seems. Nothing in this world's what it seems. And nothing in this world's what it seems. 19th dream, don't need no more. Not one dream more do I need. I'm standing at the crossroads of an ordinary life, not the one I had in mind. The road that I would normally have taken in this life, so hard to find. I know exactly where I am, I just don't recognize the place. Disappointment clearly must be written on my face. Oh, it used to be so simple in an ordinary life. The course was clear. You knew precisely where the dangers were in this life, which way to steer. But I'm standing at the crossroads that I've never seen before. maps that I was shown, I'd say there should be something more. Yeah, we're living in a hard place. A car was a romance and now it's a gun. In a world that fits only heroes, even the dawn's just so much sun. I've lived long enough to see the flowers bloom in winter, to feel the heavens burn. Some people say one thing and some the other. Sometimes you just don't know which way to turn. But there's a wind blows at a crossroads. It can cut you like a knife. It can happen any morning in an ordinary life. Ah. I started playing guitar about 40 years ago, I think. 44 years ago. And when I started, yeah, I had started shaving. But in fact, I did have a beard. I got the beard first. You had to have a beard before you started playing guitar in those days. You know, it kind of grew out from the underneath the chin down. Nothing else. It was ridiculous, but I persevered. Anyway, so when I started playing guitar, it was I'll show you the way that you were supposed to play it. You played it like this. This was the pick you had to learn. This is what everyone played. Remember that? Every song used to start like that. And if you had picked up the guitar with the intention of attracting a member of the opposite sex, this wasn't enough. You had to do something else as well. You had to do this. That got him interested. But if you wanted to get serious, you had to go down to the minor. And there were an awful lot of guitarists doing exactly that. There's a whole kind of queue of women. And it was the genre at that point for songwriters or blokes with guitars, for another explanation. to write songs about being on the road and having to leave someone behind. They were doing it all the time. So to as a kind of tribute to that genre of songwriting, I've written this song, and it's called You and I Both Know It Had to End. I met you at the station. You asked me what was wrong. I'd like to say straight off, this has nothing to do with Leonard Cohen, okay, because I have been to many Leonard Cohen concerts, and they've always been joyous occasions. I have no idea where this rote thing about Leonard Cohen being some music to slit your wrists to, that is ignorant. He is the most joyous of songwriters, and his concerts are the most joyous things. And at the end of his concerts, I noticed this, especially I was in the Albert Hall watching one, and they had a centre aisle, you know, the stalls are there, and they had a centre aisle, and then from the lip of the stage to the foyer at the back, it was just one long queue of women wanting to shake his hand at the end of the night. I understand that perfectly. The guy's a genius. Anyway. I must say, I've never quite had a queue like that. I know that because I haven't had a queue at all. Maybe tonight. I met you at the station. You asked me what was wrong. I said I had no inspiration to write another song. You asked was I a writer. I said sometimes I can be, but I only write songs of integrity. We made love in the afternoon, your dress upon the chair. I kept my underpants on in case a song was there. As it happens, I was not inspired to leave your satin bed. We just lay and talked about me and my songs instead. But you and I both know it had to end. You said, I'll get something for supper. I'm glad that we are friends. Well, I'll miss you and respect you, but I must carry on. By the time you get to Tesco's, I'll be gone. You went to work and left me with your laptop and your phone. I'm not one to take advantage unless I'm left alone. I needed someone near me, and you were far away. When I'm on the road, it's the price you have to pay. But you and I both know it had to end. You said, I'll get you some guitar strings. What do you recommend? I said 11 to 54. Make sure they're Martin Light, and I'll sing your love song, just not tonight. Yeah, it's hard being a poet, being on the road. And I wrote a song about it. I wrote a song called Being a Poet as an explanation. And it goes something like this. Being a poet, stupid thing to be. Writing pretty things, mostly doing it for free before you know it. There's a poet in your head and you can't remember words and you think you soon be dead. Yeah, it's getting to the point where the road up Poet Hill's getting steep. I've got myself in trouble, metaphysical kind of things, pretty deep. I gotta get a job, another poet on the heap. It's all in the rhythm and the choice of words, things like that. It doesn't make a living, makes you poor, an old reporter told me flat. Yeah, but a poet gets to meet the girls, he said, I fancied that. Being a poet, you're working all the hours God sends. Your soul never sleeps, your heart never mends. You eat because you're hungry, you drink because you drink. You see, poets hate to do it, but it helps to make us think. Yeah, and thinking is the thing that a poet does best, that's true. I've been there and back so many times, I leave the car and take the tube. It's a filthy kind of job, somebody's gotta do. They say a poet has to pay the price, and I thought, well, maybe that's not a lot. Optimistic voices interrupting other voices, yeah, that's what I've got. And everybody says that's life, no it's not. See, a poet can't think about everything. It takes all day to make one word sing. Is that life or just a song? I'm making up my mind, hanging out there washing on the Z3 line. Yeah, the French would never let a poet down. They give a poet wine. But English women do let poets down. I found that all the time. All they said was what's mine is all yours and what's yours is all mine. It's all in the rhythm and the choice of words, but that was all before. I'm working down the rows and crowns, scraping old reporters off the floor. I used to be a poet, but I'm not anymore. Yeah, I used to be a poet, but I'm not anymore. I used to be a poet, but I'm not anymore. Wow. It's really good to see the place full, you know, so many of you here, because I don't, you know, I'm a musician, I don't do promoting or anything. So I, you know, it's like saying, you know, that my songs are about life, love and work, you know, well that's bollocks, because I'm a musician, I don't about work. So the only kind of promotion I do is I just put a little poster up on Facebook. That's it. Usually works. But I do have a problem with Facebook, at certain parts of Facebook. All my friends, that's my problem. In the sense that they sometimes like to do things that I feel quite uncomfortable with, like they like to join in with any protest that's going on, you know, and all those people in the government and the opposition and everyone in politics actually are all tossers. Oh, for goodness sake, you know. So, and the other thing they do is, where am I here? Okay. The other thing they do is, if anybody's having an off day, they all send their thoughts and prayers. Well, half of them have never had a thought, and they certainly don't pray. Well, anyway, that's my take on it. This is called Thoughts and Prayers. Thoughts and prayers, I send my online thoughts and prayers to starving children there for you, and there for down-pressed people too. For all of us who think and pray, there's got to be a better way. Between my games of solitaire, I send you all my thoughts and prayers. Famous people who live on through their music, everyone, to heroes fallen by the way. My thoughts are with you every day. If you're feeling sad and your mind's not well, don't hide behind your inner shell. To all my friends who once took drugs, I send my thoughts and prayers and hugs. Colon and parenthesis, laugh and loud, kiss, kiss, kiss. These are thoughts that I can send to my 2,000 online friends. We know what is wrong or right. We publish our thoughts every night. We are real, there is no doubt. The rest have all been selling out. When half an idea comes online, the experts gather in straight lines to tell us all what should be done, with thoughts and prayers for everyone. All things beautiful and bright. Someone drank too much last night. Let a keyboard rule her head. Now she wishes she were dead. Thoughts and prayers, I send my online thoughts and prayers to all of us who have to cower from all those crooked men in power. I hate those crooked men, don't you? The things they say, the things they do. Between my games of solitaire, I send you all my thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. You're very kind. I am kind of occasionally mixing up lines and getting them quite wrong. So in that one, there's a line about thoughts and prayers and hugs, and I got it wrong, and I just said thugs and prayers. I might use that next time. Now here's a song which does require an explanation. For anyone who's never heard it, you wouldn't understand what the song's about unless I did. So if you have heard it before, please indulge me, thank you. Remember all those people out there shivering in Canada and sweating themselves silly in Australia right now still. I've got a friend. Online actually on Facebook. I know her anyway. Edwina Hayes, and she's in Australia at the moment. She's doing a tour of festivals and clubs and stuff. And she put up a post today, and she's been there about a week now, something like that, and she still hasn't seen a fucking kangaroo. Not only that, she's not taking she hasn't taken a photograph of one to put it on Facebook so that we can all see that she's in Australia. Sorry?
Might not be mating season.
I don't care what they're doing. They're just not bouncing over the road when she's driving along. Is it mating? It's a bit late for mating season in Australia. Let's wash my teeth, that's all right. Anyway, so I've got to explain this song. So if anybody has heard it before, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, for those out there, I sometimes get asked when some people do consider that I am a folk singer, and that's fine. But they ask me, why don't you sing, a murder ballad? Because folk singers do that. And I said, well, I sing songs, my own songs. I write my own songs and songs that come from my experience, and I just haven't had that happen yet. I haven't seen anybody get killed or murdered or done it myself. It's just not. And then I had a stroke of luck. Maldon is not the murder capital of Essex, let's put it that way. But it had its moment. It had its one moment of fame, or infamy. Actually, more than one, yeah. But this one in particular was quite notorious because it was the manager of the kebab shop in the high street. And the perpetrators, and it's there is a legal doubt as to who that was. They I think they stabbed him, and then they supposedly it was a ménage à trois, as they say. And the assistant manager and the manager's girlfriend was supposedly involved. I don't know. Anyway, he was stabbed and he was thrown in the deep freeze, the freezer, big box deep freezer. They know this because of the punch marks on the inside of the lid. Eventually, so the perpetrators, they went up to what was then Focus and got some ready-mix cement, a few bags, I would say, and came back, dug a hole in the back of the shop, took him out of the freezer, put him in and cemented him over. Now, I don't know. Then what happened was that 6 months passed. Nobody'd seen the manager of the kebab shop for 6 months. Nobody had a bloody kebab in Maldon for, 6 months. And the lease ran out. So the next people came in. Don't know what they were going to do. A handbag shop or something. I don't know. Well, whatever they were going to sell, they didn't want this lump of concrete in the middle of the floor of the shop. So they got the builders in and to get it out. And, of course, they discovered the kebab shop manager. No, it's not funny. It's not funny, is it? And then they discovered the body, and the whole of Essex forensics was down there. And they couldn't get the concrete block. They wanted him in the concrete block. They want all the evidence intact, so the concrete block had to come out on block, I suppose. Had to come out, and they had to crane it over the roof and into the lorry waiting in the high street. Shut the high street down. So and then the Maldon and Burn Standard took a photograph of this procedure, and it was on the front page. Body in concrete mystery. Somebody came up with that. And there it was, on a big photograph on the front page. So, had to write a song about it, didn't I? I mean, you don't get many chances. So this is called Heart of Stone. One man, one woman on a dead man's chest, acting alone. In the dead of night laid him to rest in a heart of stone. Nothing to do but to carry on, nothing to do but try and be strong. Nothing was meant to go that wrong, not a heart of stone. Transit vans were all around, forensic crawling on the ground. That night they closed the high street down, oh yeah. The local paper took a shot of a shrouded lamplit concrete block. On Anglian news they showed our town with a heart of stone. Some people nervous as they go by the scene of the crime. His shop is empty, people know why. It's a nervous kind of time. Some people react in a different way. At the church next door the beavers play. Little boys know nothing of the Essex clay. They are not afraid. Murder in a market town, you can feel the chill wind all around, and the rhythm of life seems like it's breaking down. So this sort of thing, confusion's high, you can see it in a person's eye. They don't know if they should laugh or cry. They were crying they were laughing in the pub, nearly woke the dead. Thought the laughing would never stop. They should put up a sign there, someone said. Management under new shop. They said the police didn't chalk an outline, a blue circle was done. Someone asked did he socially mix, and another man said yes, 621. That's a heart of stone. One man, one woman on a dead man's chest, acting alone. In the dead of night laid him to rest in a heart of stone. Nothing to do but to carry on, nothing to do but try and be strong. Nothing was meant to go that wrong, not a heart of stone. Transit vans were all around, forensic crawling on the ground. That night they closed the high street down, oh yeah. The local paper took a shot of a shrouded lamplit concrete block. On Anglia News they showed our town. I've got another explanation now to make for the people who are not here, who may never have, in fact, been to Maldon in their lives. They don't know what they're missing. I believed here all my life. Yeah. They won't know, for instance, that if you want to go anywhere else in the country, it's going to take you an hour before you get out of Essex or around the M25 or whatever. It's a long way to Maldon if you're coming from anywhere other than Haybridge. I've said this on the live album, but it's true, so I'll say it again. I've got friends who are musicians who live in Birmingham, and they can get home every night from wherever they are in the UK if they wanted to. You know, it's fine because they're right in the middle. If you come from Maldon, you can get home every night, but it's going to be 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. So you spend a lot of time on the road. And you listen to the radio. And I listen to the radio, and it was funny. I'm not it's just not me. I don't like rocking along to music on the radio when I'm driving. I like to listen to conversation, so I listen to Radio 4 a lot. The trouble with that is, it doesn't matter what time you tune into Radio 4, but it's always Gardener's fucking question time. Actually, one day last week, I was driving from Southminster to Tesco's, and it was Brain of Britain. Oh, fantastic! I mean, if you've listened to Bob Flowerdew for the whole of your life, then yeah. Brain of Britain's pretty good. Especially if you get one of the questions right. Before Tesco's, that is. I was born at 17 with a guinea in between my fingers. It was so good, so good. Could make a Ford Anglia estate do things that Ford never thought a Ford Anglia could. But when you're getting old, you like to drive in dry weather. When dusk begins to fall, you can't see where to go. Blinded by the cat's eyes and going out for level on the M25, shouting at the radio. I ran up a bumper on a dark and stormy night. I was tuned into the medium wave band, listening to a DJ talking in the way only a million people can understand. I shouted, give me something else, something I believe in, something that will pass as a bloody good idea. Instead, in heavy weather on the M25, shouting at the atmosphere. are times, sometimes, when God is no DJ, when he commits a cardinal DJ sin. Street life is gonna send me out of my brain. There's more than just streets that I'm interested in. I wanna hear about people, things they're doing, things that a million people don't already know. Instead of another recipe for disaster on the M25, shouting at the radio. Give me something else, something I believe in. Give me something else that's not too bad. Give me one thing, give me one thing, give me one thing. Sad, as Mr. Wisted frequently said, it's not enough to keep the mind alive, is it? Used to like to drive when there was room to maneuver. Didn't have a radio, all I did was drive. I ran up a bumper and I can't see the move. And the DJ can't believe it, playing Staying Alive. He's making the move, he's coming on the inside, waving his fist like El Delalio. Nod at me, no need to hide. The guy in the Orion shouting at the radio. Something I adore, give me something else, something I believe in, give me something else, and now we shout no more. Now I have a friend in Scotland, in Edinburgh, a particular friend, and I have to dedicate this song to her. I don't have to, I want to. It was a kind of farewell song when I wrote it. It's not quite so much a farewell song now, it's just a celebration. Because I used to live, I lived for about 4 years on a houseboat in Burnham. Most wonderful time for a lot of reasons, not least living on a houseboat is fantastic. It's one of those old Rhine barges, and the owners lived in the main hold, and they'd built a superstructure on it, so they had 2 floors and it looked like Hilton. Fantastic. And I rented off them the stern quarters, which was the wheelhouse, and then down below a galley and a saloon, and then 2 cabins with double beds. Just wonderful. And I set myself up in the wheelhouse, looking down the river, with the light changing every hour. It was just the most gorgeous place. And in the summer you could have the doors either side of you of the wheelhouse open, and the water lapping up to the side of the boat when the tide came in, and you'd be sitting there with a computer or playing guitar or something. It was just ideal. And this is when this song is about that time. And the most wonderful, beautiful woman in my life, which is on top of the houseboat. I had it all. I had it all. I live in Southminster now. But that woman is still around, and so I'd like to dedicate this to the wonderful Angie Spangle. was in 1,000 pieces on the river, hand in hand. 1,000 joys new love releases, only two hearts understand. And always love will last forever, and the spangled river shine, and a wave from shore will never cease until the end of time. It takes time for two hearts to learn the different heat at which they burn. Sometimes a slight discrepancy can break a heart in small degrees. The moon is in 1,000 pieces, cast upon a shattered land, knowing how the light decreases, cannot help you understand. I was on the road for a long time in the mid-90s with Bert Jansch. I drove him around to gigs and stuff. One of his most well-known tunes was a traditional tune, Blackwater Side. You know, everybody's done it, including Led Zeppelin, who kind of acknowledged it, I think. I think it was Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin. So I thought, you know, that I would ask Bert one time whether the Blackwater Side, this traditional tune, the Blackwater Side, was about around here. Because, breaking off for a second, explaining to all our followers around the globe that Maldon is a town on the east coast of England, and it stands at the lowest bridging point of the River Blackwater. Thank you. So I asked Bert, was the Blackwater Side of the song the Blackwater Side of our town? And no, it wasn't. No, the Blackwater Side of the song is the same as all those traditional songs. It comes from either Scotland or Ireland, and the Blackwater Side is in Ireland. Little tiny little blue squiggle on the map, couldn't hardly see it, but it's got a great resonant song written about it. Seems wrong somehow, seems odd that this great gaping gap between the land, which is the River Blackwater, which is over 2 miles if you're going from Bradwell to Mersey or somewhere, hasn't got a song written about it at all. So I've written several now. One called Maldon Girls, which I won't go in. I can't do that tonight. And this one. And this is about the Blackwater. This is about the Blackwater. This is about the marshes. It's about the bird sanctuaries and all of that. It's about all of that. And I have to explain, again, mostly to our colleagues overseas, that the thing that I've lived in Maldon pretty much all my life. I had my spell in London, came out alive, came back to Maldon. Phew. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I've lived in Maldon all my life, apart from that 15-year gap. All right. And the thing that evokes the river for me, and always has since a child, is the smell of two-stroke. It's the stuff that they put in the outboard motors, And whenever I spent my life down the prom, my childhood down the prom, and which is next for my worldwide listeners. The prom is the big bit next to the river that all the kids used to play in, and incidentally swim in. And thereby got inoculated against every known disease in the world. Our kids are not so healthy these days. One mouthful of that lake and you were set up for life. Anyway, about parts. So, I was walking along the extension or up by the quay or round by the lake all my childhood. And sometimes I was on the river in a boat with a little outboard, and the smell of two-stroke petrol is what reminds me of the Blackwater more than anything else. So this song's called Two-Stroke. And I should mention that it is on the live album, as are nearly all the songs I've done tonight. Down here in the marshes, there's a soft wind through the grass, and the birds fly in their thousands. So we're turning into grey, turning over here, turning over me, watching the weather, watching the sea. And the mountains are the clouds, of the sky, they disappear like the sadness from your eye into the clear blue of an August tear. Every hour of every day there's another mountain, that's where they're flying their thousands, over the mud flats, over the red hills, over me. This is our home, this is the way that we were shown. Births and marriages and loves that must remain unknown amid a lifetime of endeavor. Backbone of the community, and everybody knows there's 1,000 ways the wind blows. A man needs a home, a shed by the river, where his mind can roam in the shadows in 1,000 ways, where it all comes back. You know how it feels to have the world on your side and the wind at your heels, watching the river, the real Blackwater side. Two-stroke on the river, diesel on the sea. Blue smoke like a shiver, blue sky on me. It's a small town on the river, been here 1,000 years, and all the people who have lived here, each of them have drunk 1,000 beers just to stay warm through the night until the sunlight shines in the morning between us and the sea over the marshes. Over 1,000 birds must be. Yeah, and it all comes back. You know how it feels to have the world on your side and the wind at your heels, watching the river, the real Blackwater side. Two-stroke on the river, diesel on the sea. Blue smoke like a shiver, blue sky on me. Two-stroke on the river, diesel on the sea. Blue smoke like a shiver, blue sky on me. Well, thank you very much for coming tonight. I'm going to do a couple more, and then we can all have a drink if we haven't got one already. Somebody needs a new one already down here. Now this is definitely a rap song. But a polite rap song. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write a polite rap song. Preferably that started something like, pardon me for asking. You know, an English rap song. Right, so I got my little rap riff. The whole song's like this. Pardon me for asking if I can intervene between this other Eden and this happy, happy scream. But I've been thinking for a while about what some people like to call a septidine. This royal throne of kings, this demi-paradise, this land of milk of money and the citizens of vice. Manchester United, Timbuktu, everything is different, everything is new. We're stepping up the pace, we're stepping up the feel. It's a different way of thinking, it's a different kind of deal. Bigger is better, well that's alright for some, but then the smaller you get, the smaller you become. Nothing personal, that's been gone a long time. If you wanna hear about it, there's a human on the line. Mexican flyweights on pay-per-view. Everything is different, everything you do. We're emotional now, you can tell by our demeanor at a funeral, like the night we lost to Argentina. It's getting kinda crowded, it's getting kinda tough. There isn't any room, we haven't got enough. The building mock Tudor houses on the greenfield zone, the building 60 houses on the cricket square alone. Everyone's a stranger, the town is not the same. It used to be religion, and now it's just a game. Check it out. Hub, Spark, Ball and Broke couldn't help but smile. He said, Plantagenet's a better perpendicular in style. He said, Oi, get me Chaucer, give him an advance and tell Morris that I want him to write another dance. Give me Alf Ramsey, tell him what to do, tell him 4-3-3, guaranteed 4-2, and then sack him. Every king must be deposed, everything is different, everything is closing. Pardon me for asking if I can intercede between this other Eden and this happy, happy breed. But I've been thinking for a while about what some people like to call it set to die. I've nearly finished my pint, which means that I've nearly finished the gig. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming along, and greetings to all those worldwide. And I'd like to leave you with this song, a sensitive and thoughtful song. It's about how all of us are all the same. We're all together as one. The albums are next door if you want to have a look. On your way to the bar and then through to the saloon. This is called Hold Your Horses, Woman. Your horses, woman, I am not like other men. I understand things like what you need and when. In the morning you need my attention, at night you need it too. Strict and undivided attention, nothing else would do. You ask me how I know what a tangled web you weave. Well, female intuition is not easy to achieve. But I really paid attention, I was blind, but now I see. Woman, you have no secrets left but one, just what you saw in me. I was not tall, I was not dark, I was not handsome by the normal benchmark. I had a sense of humor, think that helped a bit. But then you said you thought you were the butt of it. But still you took me to your heart, although I like to keep myself apart. You honored me, some girls won't. You said you loved me, and now you say you don't. Hold your horses, woman, what are we coming to? You say that I'm obnoxious, well, okay, so are you. There's no difference, the argument is over, even though you say it's only halfway through. You always want things twice as long when half as long will do. Oh, ask me no more questions, I swore not to kiss and tell. I live in a world of my own, you live in one as well. We're as bad as one another, there's no other undiscovered thing that we could try to do. 'Cause all men are bastards still, and women, you're all bastards too. Thank you, thank you.
Mr. David Hughes. I'd just like to point out this is an album launch, and this is the very album, and it is available over there if you don't already have it. I do realise that if you're in Australia, you won't be able to get over there in time before the pub shuts. So you can get it from www.davidhughesmusic.co.uk, and you can buy it there. And I can tell you it's a very, very good album because it has my name on the back. Do I get money for this? No. Would we like to hear another one? I don't know where he's gone. He's probably gone to the bar. Oh no, here he is. As I say on this very album, Mr. David Hughes.
Well, thank you so much. The great thing about an encore is that you get off stage and you have time to have a quick fag before you come back on. Only mine's I've got a electronic bag. It slipped down. It's got a hole in my bloody top pocket. It's down there. And I can feel it. And I don't think I can. No. No, I'll just have to rip my jacket apart as soon as I finish. This is another little song about Essex, in fact. Tuning's wrong now. I did a documentary for, it was on ITV, about artists in their environment. It was kind of an Anglia production. It wasn't the main ITV. And there was and I turned up to do. They said, we want you to sit on the hold of a barge and play a tune. So I turned up, and the night before I'd been playing in this tuning, and then I thought I was in the normal tuning, so I tuned everything to the low tuning, and then it was a bit of a disaster, really, because I was singing down here like this, and the song, it was actually the two-stroke. They wanted me to play two-stroke, but it didn't come out like it should have done. And that's the end of my television career, basically. Yeah, my brother was in it as well. Ian was in it, doing his stained glass, and they cut from me to him as fast as they could. And he looked pretty good in it, I must say, bastard. Who's that knocking at my front door? It been knocking at my front door. Whoever is knocking at my front door, tell him I don't live here no more. I'm a different person now, and that's for sure. Who's that knocking at my front door? And who's that singing to the stars above? Who'd be singing to the stars above? Whoever is singing to the stars above, tell 'em that's not gonna be enough. I haven't heard singing like that, not since the summer of love. Who's that singing to the stars above? Oh, the summer of love on an Essex street was the summer of love, and it couldn't be beat. Chelmsford felt just like San Francisco Bay. Yeah, summer of love was a different heat, and the summer of love everyone you'd meet were really nice in a really friendly way. Oh yeah. Yeah, the summer of love everyone enjoyed, 'cause the summer of love they were all employed, yeah. So who's that driving in my blue car? Who'd be driving in my blue car? Whoever is driving in my blue car, tell 'em I don't care who they are. I'm a different person now, I've traveled far. Who's that driving in my blue car? And who's that living inside my head? Who'd be living inside my head? Whoever is living inside my head, tell 'em I don't care what they say. It's been so crowded since the summer fled. Who's that living inside my head? Whoever is living inside my head, tell 'em I couldn't hear what they said. It's been so crowded since the summer fled. Who's that living inside my head?